Welcome to the Minesweeper project on bbteacher.com. Let's start off our project by working on the user control, and one of the views that we need for the user control is the button view. This is the view of the user control when it has not been clicked yet, and it just appears to be one of a number of unmarked buttons on the game surface. So now we are inside the MineCell user control. We're in the private sub MineCell paint. We have our select case statement, and we put our code for each of the pieces right after the corresponding case statement. So here's the case statement for the button, and the first thing we'll do is to add the width block for the eDotGraphics, and everything inside then we'll just use a dot to get to the eGraphics surface. Then we need to clear off first of all, we need to set up the transformations, and we always start that with a reset transform, and then we do a translate transform, which slides the coordinate axis from the upper left corner to the center of the screen. So translate transform from me.width over 2, me.height over 2. And then the next line is identical, except it's a scale transform, and so we'll just translate this word to scale. And now what we have then is a coordinate axis that looks like this. Now we have 0, 0 in the center. Negatives in the x direction are -1 is the left edge, the right edge is +1. The top is -1. The top is -1 and the bottom is +1. So the y's are reversed from math class. The x's are not. So now we need to, using that model, we need to set up some points to do some coloring, and we need to clear the background. Let's clear the background first. Clear, and we'll use our background color, which is color light gray. And if we look at our system right now, we can rebuild it and check it out. And on our Form 1, we just need a copy of our MineCell. There we go. And the MineCell, we need a MineCell control out here, and we can see then that, let's see what our properties say. This is showing you the button version. We can change to one of the other ones, and notice it's clear then. So our first little piece is to put this light gray background on the cell. Next, we need to continue our drawing routine by shading it. We've got to shade the top left and the top and the left side as light color, and the bottom and the right as dark colors to give a shadow effect. And to do this, let's just define a set of points. And our points would be the top left corner as new point f, which is a floating point version of everything. And that's -1, -1. Top left corner, if you remember here, is -1, -1. And we're going to define the other three corners in a similar fashion. Dim the top right corner as new point f. And that one is 1, -1. Dim bot left as new point f, and that's -1, 1. And dim bot right as new point f, and that is 1, 1. And so now we can check this out. If we compare our 4 points to the points that we have here, we have used our model to construct the 4 points in the corners of the screen. Those will be used to draw some shading lines. Alright, next we need a pen. Dim mpen as new pen. Color gray. This is the dark colored stuff with a width of 0.3. Now, actually the width of the pen goes on either side of the line between the specific points when you do a draw line, and we'll actually be throwing away half of our line will be outside of the edge of the screen, but that's not a really big deal, so we'll just ignore that. We need to draw a line with that pen from the bottom right to the bottom left. So that's across the bottom of the screen. We're going to draw another line with that same pen from the bottom right to the top right. And let's check that out. We'll rebuild. And take a look at the form. And there's our shaded two sides that are shaded. The other two sides are not highlighted yet. We're going to highlight these two next with some white colored lines. And so let's go back in, and we'll actually just duplicate these since it's very close to the same code. We'll just copy and paste and make some modifications. The second time we don't need to dim the pen. We can just say mpen equals new pen, and it'll work the same way. But we do need to change that color to white as a highlight now. Bright white, whatever you want to call it. And now the draw line then will go from the top left to the bottom left. That's the left edge. Then we'll go from the top left to the top right. And so that should work there. So now we'll rebuild and take a look at it, and there is our highlighted three-dimensional looking button, and that's what we were after. And notice a couple of things about this particular type of doing this. I defined the points first, and those points worked out to be pretty useful. My keyboard sticks sometimes. There we go. Those points turned out to be pretty useful, and we used those here, and it became very much easier to read using the special points than it would have been had we not defined those first. Then when we draw a line, you can see the arguments, or what is the pen you're drawing with, what is one end of the point, and what is the other end of the point, and those are x, y coordinates. Each of these is an x and a y, and that becomes fairly easy to read the code when you're done. Thanks for programming along, and we'll stop on this section.